Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 87th edition of Last Thursdays with an Entrepreneur, presented by Entrepreneurs for Nepal in collaboration with Ujwal Thapa Foundation, Samriddhi Foundation, and Photoberry. Today, we have been joined by co-founders of Alchi Ko Pasal, Manish Dai and Kreeti Di. So Alchi Ko Pasal makes a lot of board games and different games that are all inspired by our rich cultural heritage. One thing that they've always done is bring people together through culture. And another thing is they've brought together generations. So let's say grandparents and grandkids who can bond over these games and they can learn about culture through their grandparents. Having said this much, now I'd like to ask them to talk a bit about Alchi and about themselves as well.
My name is Manish Shrestha. So we started Alchi. I'm one of the co-founders of Alchi, and we started Alchi around 2015, I think, where it was basically born out of boredom. We were doing different projects for different clients, and then we felt like there's something that the clients wanted that we wanted to do in a different way, or like there's so many projects where we wanted to go an extra mile, but the constraints of the client didn't allow us to, and we're like, let's do something of our own. And that's where Samrajya came out, and Samrajya was our first board game, and it was something that came out of our heart. We used to play a lot of board games at that time, and there was no any Nepali board games, so we thought, let's make our own board game, and that's how Samrajya was born.
Hello, my name is Kreeti, and we play a lot of board games. We were in the US 12 years, अनि फर्केर आएकै हो, अनि in US मा पनि धेरै गेम्सहरू खेल्यो. नेपालमा फर्केर आइसकेपछि चाहिँ नि there aren't any board games in Nepal के खेल्नलाई त केही छैन. I think we were born with Ludo, Nakpas, अनि Monopoly. That too later हामीहरूको पनि तलको generation Monopoly नत्र म त Ludo Nakpasमै we were brought up. And I think that's where we felt the need as to let's make something of our own भनेर पनि, something that's a little bit more cultural, a little bit more heritage. र नेपालको culture, it's so cool, why not display it भनेर चाहिँ नि we came up with Samrajya. So
I think before we talk about your journey, me and I think everyone here wants to know how the name Alchi came about. I think that's a big we'd love to know that.
So Alchi people come up with the most creative ways to get their jobs done. About how not to get my job done, we come up with the most innovative ways. So I think that's where the name came about.
Alchi people are the most creative ones. So we feel like we're the creative ones behind the game. So
right.
So I'm sure people feel very amused and Ramai Laksala, Alchi Ko Pasal bhanda. I was the same as well. But beyond, what was your intention behind that name? के चाहिँ feeling आओस् मान्छेलाई नाम सुन्दा भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ?
One the मान्छेहरु यो त सारै अल्छी भयो भनेर, it's like a derogatory term कि अब कसै राम्रो मान्छेलाई त भन्दैन यो अल्छी भयो भनेर. So what we wanted to do is change the perception right away, and plus we wanted something a little bit more catchier, a little bit more not out there कि अब हुन्छ नि, so people will remember in the first go. And plus when we had the store initially, मान्छेहरु चाहिँ पास हुँदाखेरि पनि everyone, it's very relatable because their आमा बाउहरुले पनि भनेर अल्छी उठाउ भनेर छोराछोरीहरुलाई गाली गरेर हुन्छ नि त. So पास हुँदाखेरि पनि र तिम्रो लागि पसल बनायो भनेर चाहिँ नि the parents would say and then go. Okay, so this कारण I think it's catchy, it's fun, and it's just different. That's why we came up with it.
It's very Nepali, अल्छी भन्दा साथीहरुले नेपाली यो हुन्छ नि young उसको लागि होला भनेर. So it tells a story by itself.
So तपाईँहरुको a lot of your games seem more catered toward the younger audience, हैन? But then there's one drinking game as well. So what would you say is like your target audience एकदम specifically छ भयो चाहिँ?
So I think हामीहरुले चाहिँ नि we Samrajya, we tested it out अनि हामीहरुको लागि बनाएको थियो. But then later on when I had a kid, I realized that बच्चाहरुको लागि पनि केही छैन भनेर. If I was to pass something down to if my daughter was to ask what is कुमारीको story के हो भनेपछि even I don't know, मैले के pass down गर्छु त. So maybe me passing everything down is not an option. So let's have people who actually know about what Kumari is, have them pass down. So we just created a medium for them to tell the stories of our culture. And that's why, plus we had later on a testing ground as to choriko साथीहरुसँग सँगै मिलेर चाहिँ नि, we had a good prototyping testing sessions too. So
and a lot of our products, our games, it's a lot of people buy it as gifts for others. So that's why we had like a drinking game as well, because we thought like young people would be more, would want to give gifts, games as gifts. So that's why we tried it with, these drinking games as well.
अर्को reason that we have is like kids are very fast learners. They're very adaptive. So नयाँ चिजहरु चाहिँ नि एकदमै छिटो pick up गर्न सकिन्छ, whereas I think the older ones, it takes them a while to convince them to learn. But I think moms-हरु or the newer moms-हरु, they're like more susceptible as to like, this is something I want my kid to have भनेर पनि. That's where we found the market, and त्यही अनुसार चाहिँ नि we sort of cater towards kids नै.
Okay, so the kids are the main focus,
Right.
right?
Let's say younger audiences is the focus.
Before I go ahead, I'd like to tell Sabalai, we'll open Q&A in between. So just after around 25 minutes of us talking, we'll have a Q&A round, and then we'll go back to Sydney. If you have questions, you can ask them at that time. So I would like to now go back to a bit about Alchi Ko starting. So Tabali Banbai, Samrajya came first, and then Alchi came about. What was that moment when you thought, okay, so Alchi is not just a side project at this point, it's something of its own. What made you come to that aha moment कि अब चाहिँ हो भनेर?
So I think initially चाहिँ नि हामीले साम्राज्य सुरु गर्दाखेरि it was kind of fun. Then like he said, all of the client work was kind of boring, and it was stifling our creative designers-हरु पनि. So what we thought about was starting a puzzle, Alchi Ko Pasal. So we did a lot of different things like tote bags, magnets, यहाँ वहाँ कति गर्यो. Then COVID hit. Pasal banda bhayo, अनि then after that we were like, okay, let's just continue our board game route भनेर चाहिँ नि we kept going.
Yeah, so I think like when we started, we created the board game first, and it started selling by itself. People really appreciated what we did, and even there's a lot of people coming back to us talking about, hey, there was like passionate people who started playing our games and asking us questions about it. And I think within 1 year, we were able to sell more than 1,000 copies of our game.
No,
and
sorry. That was like within 2 years, we sold 500 copies. Oh. So then we are like, okay, this is 2 वर्ष लाग्यो 500 copies sell गर्नलाई. And हाम्रो first target audience was expats नै target गरेको थियो, because they have been playing board games भनेर expats-हरु नै target गरेको थियो. So त्यहाँबाट चाहिँ बिस्तारै trickle down गरेर Nepali who's lived abroad, played board games abroad, यिनीहरुलाई चाहिँ नि target गरेको थियो. पछि when we started selling 1,000 units within a year, then we are like, okay, के भन्छ, now we can make a business out of it भनेर चाहिँ गरेको थियो.
So तपाईहरुले 2015 देखि start गर्नुभएको भन्नुभयो. So you've been here for quite some time. At this point, if you have to describe Alchi Ko Pasal, more than just a Nepali themed board game, how would you describe it to someone who is like new to the puzzle?
Our initial idea behind Alchi Ko Pasal was, we wanted to be Alchi to be like a medium for creative people to showcase their products. It doesn't only have to be board games. Like Kreeti was saying, tote bags are pani thiyo. There's like we tried like even shoes pani banaya हामीले. We partnered with other people with उनीहरुको creative artwork related design related नयाँ mediums-हरुमा किन नराख्ने भनेर हैन. So we wanted this to be an outlet for creative Nepali designs or Nepali artwork-हरुलाई पनि how can you provide a platform भन्ने किसिमले चाहिँ सोचिरहेको थियौँ कि. अनि if you look internationally पनि हैन, like look at Miniso. Miniso, it's like a Japanese design company, but it's all made in China. Why can't we do Nepali design products? And it could be any kind of products, but very creative, very Nepalified products. भन्ने चाहिँ आइडियाबाट चाहिँ हामीले सुरु गरेको अल्ची चाहिँ. So that was the idea, but board games really clicked. Board games हामीले सुरु गरेको, a lot of people really liked the games that we made, but we're still open to other things. We're focusing on games, so we're we're trying to move into more experiential games as well. And I think the core of it is that creativity has to be there. So anything that we feel like we put in a lot of creativity to it. So that's the theme or idea behind Alchi.
So अर्को पनि I think Japanese they've sold their sushis, हुन्छ नि Koreans they've sold their के भन्छ there's cosmetics. Why can't Nepalese sell our own cultures or make known that our cultures is cool and it's like हुन्छ नि it's like out there भनेर पनि. So what we wanted to do is have a global standard or global हिसाबले नै के भन्छ creatives-लाई market गरेको हो कि अनि हाम्रो पनि cultures-हरु it's really cool. Why not? So it's like in a way, in the end, tourism-हरुलाई पनि help गर्छ, त्यो पनि help गर्छ भनेर चाहिँ नि I think Alchi too, what we're trying to do, I guess.
Okay, so people outside of तपाईँहरूको Alchi Ko Pasal can also bring in their products, but it has to be creative.
Right.
That is the qualification then, होइन. So you'd said कि बच्चाहरूलाई थाहा होस् culture सबै आफैले भने मात्रै हुँदैन. So you're trying to blend fun and education together. And how do you strike a balance? Because बच्चाहरूलाई धेरै education भएपछि नाइ भन्न बेर लाग्दैन नि त. So how do you strike a balance between the two things?
So education is not only about kaka gaga सिक्ने होइन, cultural education पनि चाहियो, different ways how to lose, how to win, हुन्छ नि, how do you actually manage on simple strategiesहरु पनि कसरी गर्ने. So those are all education, होइन. अनि we don't per se say like हुन्छ नि oh geography मा यस्तै हुनुपर्छ or that type of education होइन कि. There's still education in like more subjective manners-हरु चाहिँ नि गरिरहेको हुन्छ board games-ले. So
no, I think we like the balance that you said, and we feel like अहिलेको नेपाली education system, नेपाली मात्र होइन कि internationally पनि होइन, education भन्नासाथ बुक्समा पढेर होइन बुक्सबाट हेर्ने त्यस्तो भनेर सोच्छौँ होइन. That I think a lot of it comes from society, personal communication, personal interaction between your friends and your peers and all of that. And I think Nepal, there isn't a medium where you curate that. And I think board games is something that can make that happen. So it's like America Samrajyamai, we have like all these Kathmanduko different legends or landmarks or that. So you don't tend to they just go through the board game and then it strikes a conversation. So America Samrajya, one time there's like a lady who came to buy it's in Samrajya, दुईटा साम्राज्य किन्नु पर्यो भनेर हैन. अनि पछि कुरा गर्दाखेरि भने नि उसको उहाँको एकजना नातिले चाहिँ युएस देखि फोन गरेर ल्याएर यो बाघ भैरव जात्रा भनेको चाहिँ के हो भनेर हैन. अनि it was the first time that उसको नातिले हैन उसको छोरालाई पनि थाहा थिएन रे हैन बाघ भैरव जात्रा के हो भनेर. And ल हजुरआमालाई फोन गर्नु भनेर फोन गरेर सोध्दैन. So it was the first time that connection could be made between the grandmom and the नाति. And so मेरो अर्को पनि नाति एउटा टेक्सासमा एकजना अस्ट्रेलियामा एकजना दुवैजनालाई म पठाइदिन्छु भनेर किन्न आए. So it becomes like a conversation starter. So हामीले चाहिँ गेम्सहरु बनाउँदा we look at that कि हैन, it's not about just giving them हुन्छ नि ओ रट्नु पर्यो हैन, this is the history, this is यो भन्दा पनि it's just like have fun with it. बरु एउटा conversation starter होस् भन्ने चाहिँ हामीले हेर्छौँ कतिवटामा चाहिँ.
So it's like experience बाटै सिकोस् भन्ने तपाईँको intention.
Exactly,
It's been that हजुर. So अघि तपाईँले भन्नुभएको जस्तै even I grew up on Ludo, Snakes and Ladder, Monopoly. I think Ludo भन्ने पनि खेलेँ यसलाई mystery वाला, but it was always बाहिरको themed हैन. अनि साम्राज्य चाहिँ मैले I think मेरो एकजना सानो cousinको घरमा देखेँ and I was very amazed कि यस्तो पनि छ रहेछ भनेर. मलाई त्यतिखेर I realized धेरै कुरा मलाई याद छैन रहेछ. त्यसबाट हेर्दा it's like a way to revise things पनि हैन. So I was thinking, how do you decide which part of the culture are you going to take in as the theme for your next product, like the process behind it? के हुन्छ तपाईहरुको?
We don't have like a exact process as such. I think a lot of times it's something that we feel is missing in the society. I think there isn't anything that's talking about these kind of things. Just subject, let's make something out of it. Or a lot of times it's just like something that we stumble upon saying, and we feel that's really interesting. Let's do this. And we look at things, products, ideas that I think people would get interested in, like, even just like our name Alchi भन्ना छ मान्छेहरु interested हुन्छ के रहेछ भनेर त्यस्तै नै हो. So we have a game called Momo, and as Momo is so popular अहिले इन्डियामा everybody is like momos भनेर. So like, why not create our own game called Momo भनेर. So that creates that curiosity, interest, and everybody knows about it too. Like, so it's a lot of times it's very random, but a lot of times there's a bit of a research that goes behind it too, at what creates that kick, that okay, oh, you're pretty interesting huncha ni bhanne. So
Also, I think our company is very experimental. There's no this thing. Failure is actually a learning curve, Nita. So some games they do well, some games don't. Aba kasto games haru it's also the anusar chani we just move according to them, and some of them they're like. Even we get feedbacks from customers saying they want more strategy games or they want more, I don't know, party games. And we create different themes for different occasions. And we see which target audience that fits best. And we start developing games.
So before the games are released market ma pathauna agadi testing harta huncha hola haina, which age group of people test out the games before it goes out?
I think it depends. So if it's like a 6+, we try test it out for like 4-year-old, 5-year-old, only then 6-year-old. Also with 6 to 10-year-old, if they were in one group, kasari khelcha bhanera pani. So we have like around 30 to 50 people that we test out with different kids. Only if it's an adult game, then we test it out with adults. So
thankfully, our daughter has a bunch of friends who we can test it out with.
तपाईँले कुनै any one instance एउटा feedback that was यस्तो बच्चा जसले भए पनि दिएको, it was like यो त एकदम राम्रो feedback पो आएछ खालिको यस्तो खालि कुनै do you remember?
No, but I think कस्तो भने testing गर्दाखेरि most of their feedback is very valid. We look at अब जस्तै when we created धरहर, so we created and kidsहरुको चाहिँ नि सानो हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ नि they cannot fold गर्दाखेरि र stack गर्दाखेरि their tensile hand strength के बसिरा हुँदैन. So त्यही अनुसार धरहर stack गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ नि यिनीहरुको बस्दैन भनेर चाहिँ नि we tested it out. तर हामीले print गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ one flaw is like हामीले print गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ नि we printed on paper that's actually durable and sturdy, thinking that it'll go to the kids, but the game actually needed to be on a more comsal paper, so it falls. So smaller things like that, after first iteration, second iteration, every edition, we are so lucky that people constantly call us and say, so yo game ma yo bhaya chaina. So it's like the customers are calling back and giving us feedback. So they anusar game developer garcha. Tara first game ma you complete, this is it.
I think more than feedback, I think there's a lot of times. One particular time I remember we got a call at like 1 a.m. from one of our friends who bought our game, and then they were playing Samrajya, and they're like, एकदमै झगडा भइरहेछ हैन, किन यो लास्टमा साम्राज्य एन्ड हुने बेलामा चाहिँ does the person, like if it's like 3 मात्र बाँकी छ 6 आयो भने does it go and then come back or does it stay there भनेर हामीहरु यहाँ एकदमै झगडै भइरहेछ, के have to solve it. राति 1 बजे पनि फोन गयो. So I think that shows how passionate they were about the game, and we were happy to help them out.
But I do have a weird comment that we got as to one mom came अनि मेरो छोराको नाम साम्राज्य हो, अर्कोको अधिराज्य हो, अब साम्राज्य त बनाउनु पर्यो, अधिराज्य पनि बनाइदिन्न है भनेर.
Yeah, twins. She had twins who was like Samrajya and Adhirajya.
So that was weird.
So मान्छेहरुको slowly they're shifting towards board games again, हैन. So when you think of the time that you came back from the US and अहिले, what type of a shift have you seen board game culture in Nepal? Like, is it a lot better कि बिस्तारै त्यो people are going back to it?
I think हामीले चाहिँ नि we haven't advertised any like हुन्छ नि advertisements-हरु त्यस्तो गरेकै छैन कि. So it's always been word of mouth. It's taken like 5 years, where last year this year चाहिँ नि we've seen a huge shift in it, because I think kids are on their mobile all the time, so parents-हरु दिक्क लाएर नै they are trying to find other alternatives कसरी गर्ने भनेर. त्यही अनुसार चाहिँ नि I think we've seen a spike in our sales too. So
not just that, I think the last few years, something that we've noticed that, there's other people who's actually building board games, looking at our games, and I think a lot of them, they came to us, talking to us, saying, we were inspired by your games, and then we started thinking, why can't we build these games as well? So there's a lot of other, board game companies who started up because of this, and I think that's a big change, and that's. I think we feel proud that we actually created that and then started that industry.
So अहिले नयाँ आउनेहरूलाई चाहिँ it's become a lot easier, I guess, to tap into the market and sell board games.
Yeah, I think अहिले चाहिँ नि we've seen 2 or 3 other companies that have started with like board games हरू नै create गरेर they come to us for feedback, and now we give them like valid feedback as to यस्तो यस्तो marketमा यस्तो यस्तो छ, so wherever भनेर चाहिँ गरेर हुन्छ. But I think it's become a lot more easier because we were the first ones to start. It took us like 5 years. I think they've been picking up really fast too, so which is I guess win-win for all situations.
Let's say a lot of people know the value of teaching kids how to play board games, and then like the value of what skills kids can learn from board games. So now people are coming back for newer games as well as looking for other alternatives. So it's been a lot better now than before. Especially in the last few years, we've really seen that change. Like with other other kids, board game makers, as well as a lot of other moms are trying to find alternatives for kids.
So when you both first started out trying to make Samraj and then sell it, what was the challenges? You've said the change भइसक्यो, people look for different games too. तर तपाईहरुले start गर्दा चाहिँ any like some challenges that you faced?
Oh, a lot. हामीहरु कहाँबाट सुरु गर्ने? पहिला त the box itself was like the मिठाईका डब्बा हुन्छ नि त्यस्तो बक्सहरुमा. अनि when we are actually the production गर्दाखेरि पनि the game actually just to prototype it took us 7 months just to prototype, and then hit अर्को के भन्छ, when we were actually playing with it took like an hour and a half to play. हामीले we have to reduce the time नि त, मान्छेहरु 1.5 घण्टाको टाइम त हुँदैन, so we had to reduce the time. त्यसको लागि पनि we had to do a couple of more testingsहरु. अर्को त just the production itself was a challenge only because this was the first time in the market, so we experimented with that mithai ka dabba and it was horrible. My friends abroad was like, okay, so exciting, I'll order and then put it on Amazon. We are like, okay, we shipped it. Ship गरिसकेपछि later on he opened and saw the भित्र त पानले पिच्च गरिराखेको के बोर्डमा. I was like हरेक 500वटा त खोलेर बसेन हामीले. So I think that entire thing, it's like reworking on that quality assurance पनि, it was nightmare भयो. त्यति बेला त I think there was like assembly production गर्दाखेरि पनि all of our designers, developers सबै सँगै बसेर एउटा साम्राज्यको कार्ड लिँदै assemble गर्दै गरिरहेको थियो. So it was quite challenging. Even selling what is challenging, हैन?
Yeah, I think there's as with any industry, because we were starting something new, there was a lot of challenges. And I think like she was saying, we first it was just like a small startup. So that quality assurance, and then we were trying to reach out to international audience, how to make sure that quality. Now we have a proper system where we do like a QC and all of that. So I think like learning all of that is that was a big challenge for us. I mean, as for any other business.
So having अब यो सबैबाट भएर अहिले आउँदाखेरि, do you think you've been able to build a community around your brand? The word of mouth बाट हुन्छ कि कसरी हुन्छ? So अहिले चाहिँ छ.
Yes, we've had people, and so thankful for people living abroad as to I think this year we wanted to shift our focus नेपालमा मात्र होइन कि बाहिर पनि कसरी त्यो distribute गर्ने भनेर. So बाहिरबाट नै यिनीहरूको local grocery store मा चाहिँ नि demand गरेर can you guys bring like Samrajya, can you guys bring like Nepali board games भनेर यस्तो यस्तो देखाएर चाहिँ नि a lot of I guess grocery stores abroad are actually asking us कि पठाइदियो भनेर, अनि so we've been like shipping it to them. So अहिले त I think people know about us, and then slowly
I think until last year, most of it was because of word of mouth. The people who bought our games, they saw their cousins playing. उनीहरूको cousins पनि देखेर यस्तो पनि रहेछ त भनेर they bought it very much. So it was mostly like organic growth नै भइरहेको थियो. But I think this year because of thanks to Shark Tank and a couple of other mediums where we were featured, we also got our games in. UK Games Expo Mapani. We were there and we showcased our games over there too. So a lot of inquiries started coming in from not just Nepal, we got a lot of inquiries about our games. So I think that has been very, put in got us a lot of positive, marketing for us, like Shark Tank, these expos and all of this.
Oh, congratulations on Shark Tank once again.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll talk त्यसको बारेमा पनि अहिले एकछिनमा. But before I go ahead, I'd like to open the floor. If anyone has any questions, just raise your hand and then you can ask it.
So I have a few questions, 4 or 5 questions. Some of them already answered.
Also, please introduce yourself.
So first of all, thank you to everyone. Thank you to the collaborators. Thank you for organizing this. My name is Nivan Birsing Kansakar. So I have automobile wholesale distribution. So coming to the question, getting straight to the point. So in terms of, like you mentioned, first growth organic word of mouth, and now at this point, do you have like a proper strategy in terms of distribution and sales, in terms of a target market? Is there any proper science behind it? Is there, for example, I was thinking there are a lot of boutique hotels, there are a lot of backpacking hotels, and I see a lot of restaurants as well having board games. So do you push B2B sales as well? Do you have a sales team? So in terms of distribution, how do you manage that in terms of inorganic?
So I think a very straight answer is no. We don't have everything figured out yet. I think it's still we're still running almost like a startup. A lot of things happen, according to what what we feel is the way to go. But I think that helps us in shifting directions very fast right now. We do have a sales team now. We do have a proper targeting, for like these kind of targets are the best for us. This kind of targeting, we have to, every game we make, we have to target at this kind of audience and all. Now it's very gradual steps, I think, that we're taking. And I think what we realized is, because it was we started as a very small startup. It was like a hobby project for us in the beginning. So the way all the processes got set up was, it wasn't according to how a proper industry has to set up these kind of processes. It was more of, and then we realized that, actually proper industry business like the distribution channels. And we didn't really think about distributors. We were like more sales retailers or retailers paisa माग्न जाने सामान दियो त्यसपछि पैसा लियो गर्न then we started looking at bigger distributors, and India we're looking at distributors who do all the retailer routes so that we don't have to worry about these. So it became, even that process was very organic for us, and we're learning through that process right now. And we're implementing that, and even now we're still learning through that. And we're looking at other industries where they do similar kind of things, and then
and I think just to add on to that too, when we started off, okay, this year we're going to focus only on distribution channels or establish garni bhanera. So we started distributing to a couple of multiple outlets, but we had like cash flow problems. So again, we were like step up, step back, step up, step back. I think this year our goal is to go global. अनि त्यहाँबाट चाहिँ नि बाहिरको डिस्ट्रिब्युसन चैनल्सहरु चाहिँ कसरी एस्टाब्लिश गर्ने भनेर चाहिँ नि हो. But we are still facing problems as to educating. Like you said, we cannot go into the resorts or like the hospitality industry, just because a lot of people still don't understand that effort in like actually telling them that this is beneficial for them. On a rainy day, your kid can actually stay and enjoy, or like your customers can stay and enjoy. it's a push for us and it's just too draining. So त्यसको सट्टा word of mouth बाटै ल यो राख्दिउ न भनेर भन्यो भने it's a lot more thing. But what we realize is a gift giving market has been the perfect outlet for us because एकजनाले नै 5वटा साम्राज्य लिएर जान्छ where they're like okay distributed to different board game like बच्चाहरूको birthday parties भनेर. So that has been like the best for us.
I am Suvat Nepal from Nepal Prosperity Institute. My question is, you mentioned that more companies, board game companies have opened up being inspired by you. Have you ever felt that your company is threatened by them? And has it ever motivated you to make your product more appealing to the audience by perhaps making it cheaper or increasing the quality so that you can still stand in the market where there is competition in your presence?
Frankly, no, we haven't felt threatened, but we actually adopt and really talk to them and say these are the different ways you can actually improve your games. And because we are the first in the market and we set the price right, so now they are actually profitable too, in order for them to run their own company too. And plus, what we realize is their target audience, they're testing it to adults, and ours has been for kids, just because we've got kids. So it's been like a perfect balance. And the larger the community, the more board games we can flush out to sell. So,
and again, like there aren't that many board game companies, So I think threaten bhanda pani, I think it's better for the entire community. The board games it's better for them when there's different options, because that actually grows the market. So actually we want other people to start board game companies as well, so that they also like create a market for us, Pani. So I think more than we're actually helping other board gamers to start their own companies. We would support them in like she was saying, we actually put all of their board games in our store as well, so that they can get some traction from it too. So it's actually better for us that there's other board game companies too. In Nepal, like that.
So along the lines of his question, so do you trademark your games, and is there any intellectual property registration, so on and so forth? And if so, what are the guidelines in terms of, for example, if you have a game and let's say someone else, I'm thinking devil's advocate here, but if someone else just changes a few rules, like what is the process for the legal aspect as well in terms of property rights and trademarks?
So we do have trademarks for our games, for our names and all. But again, I think Nepal the legal system is not so easy to navigate. So even there's a lot of ifs, and if this happens, then people might be able to copy it. There's a lot of ifs in Nepalko market. Even though like you have to safeguard your property, your IP. So there are ways to trademark it. There are ways to get your IP protected and all. And we've taken these steps as well. We have trademarks and all. But Nepalko, that legal landscape is so hard to navigate. I think Alok probably has a better view on that too. It's very hard to know exactly what you need to do to protect it. And even if you do that, पछि गएर यस्तो गर्यो भने चाहिँ हुन्छ जस्तो छ हुन्छ होला भनेर हो त्यो हैन. So I think one example was like we registered our board game as gamesहरु यसो छ भनेर ट्रेडमार्क लियो अनि भन्दाखेरि हैन तपाईले यो क्याटेगोरीमा छ तर सबै क्याटेगोरीमा लिइराख्नु पर्छ किनभने अब somebody can open Alchi भनेर मोमो पसल हैन किनभने हामीले मोमो पसलको क्याटेगोरीमा त गरे छैन भनेर, and that doesn't make sense at all for us. Trademark means that nobody else can use that logo and all भनेर. So there's so many gray areas in the legal side of Nepalकोमा चाहिँ.
अनि प्लस अर्को के रे त्यो के भन्छ हामीले साम्राज्य बोर्ड गेम डिजाइन चाहिँ नि they can take, but if we were to paint it then it's safe, like हुन्छ नि ट्रेडमार्क त्यस्तै के भयो थियो नि.
Yeah, so actually there's no there isn't a way to for intellectual property or to get like a design copyrighted. So only way to do it is if somebody like artwork ho bhane chai garna milcha. So digital copy ले चाहिँ गर्न मिल्दैन. So we had to have someone draw the entire game, draw गरेर, and then you can get it like हुन्छ नि copyrighted. So यो चाहिँ painting हो, यो कसैले पनि copy चाहिँ गर्न पाउँदैन painting भनेर चाहिँ गर्न सक्दैन. So there's like very the navigating the legal ways is quite hard in Nepal.
And not only that, यहाँ register trademark गरिसकेपछि फेरि if we were to hit India ko market, we have to trademark there. फेरि US ko market, you have to trademark there. So it's just nightmare.
So we talked about भर्खरै यो trademarking को regulations and issues हैन. त्यस्तै when you were setting up and registering Alchi, did you face regulatory difficulties registration कै उसमा पनि अरु कुनै?
Yes, कस्तो रिस उठ्यो. I just wanted Alchi नाम है. अब they are like no, Alchi नाम राख्न मिल्दैन. You have to have Alchi something. अब now ours is like Alchi कस्तो cool name छ नि. Now it's like Alchi Store Private Limited. के अब हुन्छ नि.
I think another thing that was हामी company register गर्दाखेरि पनि जाँदाखेरि the company registerमा अनि तपाईको उद्देश्य के हो भनेर थियो हैन. अनि उद्देश्य अनि के उद्देश्य भनेर त्यही पैसा कमाउनलाई गरेर पैसा कमाउने लेखेर ती गाली खायो किन त्यस्तो पनि हुन्छ उद्देश्य तपाईले के गर्न खोजेको के गेम गर्न म त हैन हामीहरु त initially we were thinking of a platform for other सामानहरु पनि गर्नलाई भनेर. So it's basically in the end our main aim is to earn money from it. No, you have to specify exactly के गर्न खोजेको भनेर. So it's kind of very the legal way it's very hard to navigate भन्छु म चाहिँ.
हजुर. Agi we talked a bit about तपाईको त्यो packaging को issues हरु भन्नुभयो हैन. Has it gotten better अहिले like the quality standardized छ अहिले compared to?
So thanks for Cabinet Dai coming in. So what we've been trying to do is, as you can see, Hammerko board game thing displayed, so the quality is a lot more better. But then again, there was like certain things whereas it's not 100% there yet. What we want to do is establish our own packaging unit and package it ourselves so the quality assurance is 100 times more better. I think that's our next step. But I think it's playable, people love it. So, and if there is any problems, we do exchange it, knowing that the printers bata aunदाखेरि any problems हुन्छ भनेर. So it's not a problem.
So you're trying to set up आफ्नै पनि but market मा नि better चाहिँ छ पहिला भन्दा. Agina, I think Agina pani, and when we were talking Astina pani, you'd mentioned that you want to expand further and export pani garni one batyo. Tyo front ma say, how has the process been? What issues have you been facing in terms of exporting your products?
So we've this year we've tried to expand outside of Nepal. We have our presence in Japan, one of the stores in Japan. We have a bunch of our games shipped to UK company. When we went to the expo, we got somebody who can be a distributor for us. We just started, we're on the process of getting it in Amazon US. There's a lot of learning for us, and we're exporting to the Amazon. You need to, apparently all games has to be like certified that it's safe for kids. So now we got, Nepal, there's nobody who can actually certify that. So we had to send all our games outside and get a certified here. So now all our games are CPC, Child Protection Certified, Child Protected Certified, CTPC certification later. Now we have it. We're getting it on Amazon US as well. So we're looking for distributors in other countries. We're actually looking to expand in Middle East, Dubai, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, where there's a big Nepali diaspora presence, as well as Australia. So we're looking for distributors. We're looking for people who can help us expand our games internationally.
Okay, Ani, so your target बाहिर पनि is the Nepali diaspora itself नै?
Initially, yes, Nepali diaspora, but सुरु गर्ने तर a lot of our games we're looking at not just Nepali, जसले पनि खेल्न मिल्ने. It has Nepali ideas to it, like Momo. The name is Momo, but the game doesn't have. You don't need to know about Nepal to to play the game. So even Samrajya, it tells a little bit about Nepal, but you don't have to know about Nepal to be able to play it. So now we're gearing more towards international audience where we can sell our games internationally, where Nepal ko coolness, Nepal ko cultural nuances are rakhne, tara it doesn't have to be only for Nepal. Just if you look at different board games like Sushi Go, and it's a Japanese board game which is about sushis, but it doesn't. You don't have to know Japanese to play it. So we want to export Nepali culture in these ways.
So eventually wide audience.
Yep, exactly.
I think now too, when we are thinking about different names, we think about it how a foreigner would pronounce it. Apparently, hamirko game called Payo. Some foreigner came to us and it's like, do you have some payo? I was like, what is payo? Like payo, like they pronounce it payo. I was like, this doesn't sound right. So now every game that we do, we have like different people test out as to कसरी pronounce गर्छ. So
yeah, and I think we had another called Allare brand. We thought it was a really cool name, Allare. And we went to Bangladesh, and in Bangladesh, it was like, oh, so is this like a Muslim brand? Like Muslim, it's like Allah, whatever. Like, oh no, we never thought about it that Allah would be Muslim. So we have to like really think about how we name it. So all the time we go through a bunch of processes on like how it will be spelled out by different people, how it will be perceived. Other language. So thanks to ChatGPT, we can actually look at does it mean something derogatory in some other language?
Yeah, so a lot of checking and assuring that nothing's wrong. I think now we'll take a step back to COVID-19 time because a lot of business got affected. And how did it affect Alchi?
My God, the COVID hit, we had just established, it had been a year, almost a year. In that corner, Jamsikil, you can still, when you search Alchi, you can still have that Pasalko corner. When we were just doing okay. Like, we were breaking even. When COVID hit, mata uncle landlord phone garera, I don't think we can take it anymore. We had to close down the store. I think it was a huge missed opportunity for us because COVID, everyone stayed home doing nothing.
Yeah.
I'm like, when they could have been playing Samrajya or like Aru board games, Alchi board games, अनि त्यति बेला हामीले distribute गर्नलाई पनि खोजे थियो. But कस्तो भने त्यति बेला only grocery stores र grocery items खानाको items मात्र distribute गरिरहेको थियो. So it was a huge failed opportunity for us नै त्यति बेला COVID को. हैन?
Yeah, and I think some of the learnings from COVID, not just for board games, as a business, I think that adaptability. I think COVID, every business had to change how they worked, change how they did business. I think that adaptability, every business has to have this. That is something that throughout any other businesses too. That I saw that change that brought. That COVID brought to everyone. We have like a contingency plan. Work from home, this is how we work. And then all of a sudden, this is how we work. Alternative contingency plan. That was important. And that's something that we really learned from COVID, just like I said.
But in a way, it sort of helped. किनभने कोभिड भन्दाखेरि सबैजना घरमा बस्दाखेरि oh my god, I cannot stand each other's face जस्तो भयो थियो नि हैन. अब then after when it opened up, everyone came and it's like, oh, game किन्नु पर्यो भनेर. So it actually boost sales चाहिँ अलिकति भयो थियो.
So पाञ्जल चाहिँ फेरि यस्तो भयो भने चाहिँ we need to be prepared भन्ने the sentiment मा हजुर. So then this is like a So this is like a lesson for sustaining your venture in the long run as well. We need to have plans ready. Okay, so we talked about initial hurdles. We talked about COVID-19 and other issues on the way towards where Alchi is now. How open or welcoming did you feel Nepal's entrepreneurial ecosystem was towards a creative venture like yours?
Well, that's a very hard question. People quite appreciated I think at that time, the uniqueness, the designs that we were bringing, I think they quite appreciated it. But I think it was a hard sell for us, for actual, I think it was a hard sell, that the design actually costs a little bit more. And then not just design, like good quality product. Like we never wanted to compromise on the quality. Like the Kreeti when I said, like the mithai ko dabba, how can we make it better? We looked at the manufacturer, like कसरी राम्रो बनाउन सकिन्छ, कस्तो किसिमको पेपरहरू राख्न सकिन्छ त्यसमा. We work quite a lot to make sure that the quality is really maintained. But getting that, charging for that quality, charging for that good design, good creativity, it was a very uphill battle. But if you look at Bhatbatiniko's shelf, there's like Monopoly games for like 300 rupees, 400 rupees, and the quality is really bad, and it's really shitty where, the 300 chatsa. But our board games, it stands for a very long time, and we made sure that the quality is really good. That was mine. So, and yeah, I mean, we wanted to make it a statement that नेपालबाट निस्क्यो भन्दैमा सस्तो नराम्रो हुँदैन, महँगो प्रडक्ट पनि हुन्छ, राम्रो क्वालिटीको हुन्छ नेपालबाट पनि, त्यो गर्न सकिन्छ भनेर that statement बनाउनु पर्छ. That was the ethos behind it, and it was quite a challenge in the beginning. We priced it a bit higher than अरू board games भन्दा, तर राम्रै क्वालिटी भनेर त्यो मेन्टेन गर्नलाई it was an uphill battle.
अनि I think initially यहाँ आउँदाखेरि पनि someone mentioned मैले तिमीहरूको उहिले जमानामा किने थियो अनि कस्तो महँगो लाग्यो भनेर. I was like, I'll tell you why कस्तो महँगो थियो. So one is like हामीहरूको उहाँले भने जस्तो like production, अनि second is like marketing. We are marketing very less for हुन्छ नि, अनि plus कस्तो भने it's a newer company, so you are also setting that trend. For it's been like 5 years, we haven't hiked up our prices. यताबाट हामीलाई squeeze गरिरहेछ, production sideबाट माथिबाट हामीले अझै घटाइरहेछ. So हामीहरूको production or that profit margins is very less के हैन. But we don't want the board game company to sort of stop, because right now it's gaining momentum. I was like, no, momentum hit भइरहेको बेलामा let's not increase the prices, let's remain and keep it as is भनेर. अनि बल्ल मान्छेहरूले अहिले किनिरहेछ कि. But I think that was quite a challenge for people to make people understand that quality does cost money and design also costs money.
So you had to like build a network around yourself slowly. गर्दै बनाउँदै जानु.
Yeah, everything was a challenge because then plus we were the first in the market. So it's like swimming upstream नै भइरहेछ.
Hopefully अहिले चाहिँ better छ.
But कस्तो भने as an entrepreneur, त्यो I actually was very happy that मान्छेहरू they were like, oh क्या राम्रो क्या रमाइलो भनेर, they are willing to try something new के हैन. अब yes, moms especially, that's why हाम्रो target audience was moms, is they are so willing to try something new, to teach something new to our kids के हैन, as long as they get off the mobile भनेर पनि. So in early चाहिँ they sort of really helped push our board games to newer markets and newer kidsहरू.
So, yeah. So has the private sector been welcoming and encouraging then?
Yes, because we've had a lot of flaws. People call, give comments, feedbacks, we reiterate and change it on the next editions. So त्यस्तै development पनि भइरहेछ, यता साइडबाट पनि भइरहेछ. Yes, they say अलि बङ्गो छ, तर I think for that price though, come on, if you want something cheap then just go get something cheap. No? हाम्रो यहाँ design र production cost मा.
अनि also I think जुन government policies जुन छ नि, registrations and other things as well, have they, अघि त हामीले problems को कुरा गर्यौं नि त धेरै, were there any policies that were kind of encouraging or helping ventures like yours, like creative ventures that encourage गर्ने खालको केही policies तपाईहरुले भेटाउनु भएको छ अहिलेसम्म?
Keep thinking.
Like that, you have to think about it.
I think more than creatives, I think I want to touch a bit on the entrepreneurship goal. I think like as an entrepreneur, something that I felt like was government policies. It's built for bigger industries or like family business where everything is already set. Your system for a new business, it's the laws are very vague भन्छु म चाहिँ हैन, किनभने खासमा त यो प्रोसेस हो, तर अब सानो तिमीले यसै गरिरा हुन्छ केही छैन भन्ने किसिमको हुन्छ नि, चाहिँ धेरै नै युज भइरहेछ के. अनि it doesn't make sense हुन्छ नि. for a big business to do it, there are सानो business, small business, है तिमीहरूले गरिरहेको हुन्छ भनेर like हुन्छ नि अब the very example is like the pan र VAT मा जानेले होइन. So we were registered in pan before होइन, pan मा हुँदाखेरि 15 there's no VAT on it. All of a sudden you go to if you reach certain milestone, you have to be registered in VAT. त्यो हुनासाथ we have to pay 13%. But none of our vendors would pay that extra 13%. And हाम्रो price पनि एकैचोटि 30% extra increase गर्ने भन्यो भने nobody would agree. So we actually as a business have to eat away that 13%. किनभने हामीले जोसँग काम गरेछ उनीहरू पनि प्यानमै हुन्छ होइन, सानो smaller business are all out. होइन, so it's just a सानो कुराहरू. I feel like it's built for a bigger industry को लागि. Small business लाई चाहिँ अलिक गाह्रो नै छ, like especially smallबाट अब ठुलो हुनको लाग्दाखेरि there's a lot of hurdles. These are like ignored and for smaller businesses. ठुलो हुनासाथ there's a lot of oh you have to abide by these rules. मैले पैसा कमाउन थाल्यो अब पैसातिर भन्ने किसिमको अब you have to do these भन्ने चाहिँ छ. So
I think for a small business entrepreneur, what I really do want one rule to be implemented by the government is हामीले क्रेडिटमा दिँदाखेरि they should कस्तो भने 30 days or 90 days भित्रमै they should clear that money के होइन. यिनीहरूको 6 महिना 7 महिना तन्केपछि अनि हामीहरूको चाहिँ नि as a small business owner you are like left hanging without any cash flow के. So त्यो गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ गाह्रो हुन्छ.
yeah, अनि well and I think like the VAT को उसमा पनि you have to issue a Nepalको system अनुसार you have to issue a bill, VAT bill when the stock gets out of your company. But then the payment comes only after like 4 or 5 months, but you already are paying the VAT for it. So I think the companies who don't have enough good cash flow, smaller businesses, it's a lot of the issues are there's it gets I think to reach that medium level अलि ठुलो उसमा जानलाई चाहिँ there's a lot of hurdles जस्तो चाहिँ जस्तो लाग्छ. अनि अब सानोमा चाहिँ त्यो इश्युजहरू प्रब्लम्सहरू क्रिएट हुने मात्रै धेरै पोलिसिज चाहिँ भइरहेको जस्तो लाग्छ. I think
अर्को कुरा चाहिँ नि we are neither because it's a newer market, handicraft sector पनि होइन, हामीहरू tech पनि होइन, we are like कता जाने भनेर, so they don't know which category to place us in. अनि हामीले export गर्दाखेरि पनि त्यो export taxes or all that stuff पनि it's another ball game altogether नि.
So yeah. So the ecosystem चाहिँ change अलिअलि हुँदैछ. It's warming up to newer businesses, तर regulations are still a pain नै भन्नु पर्यो त्यसो भए हैन. We can open the floor for some more questions if there are.
It's been long. मेरो छोरा 14 वर्ष भयो. मैले त्यो साम्राज्य चाहिँ त्यो पाटनको त्यो पाटन बुक्सहरू चाहिँ त्यहाँनिर मान्छे घुम्न जाँदाखेरि चाहिँ मैले पक्रेको थियो. अनि त्यही किनेको. मैले हेर्ने बित्तिकै नेपालको त होइन, अब नाम त नेपाली छ भने मैले होइन. बिकज त्यो एकदमै राम्रो प्याकेजिङ थियो, राम्रो थियो. अहिले पनि छ, केही पनि भएको छैन, बिग्रिएको छ कि. अनि चाहिँ ठुलो भइसक्यो भने नि ऊ चाहिँ विभिन्न ठाउँमा साथीहरूसँग जाँदा अनि भाइ बहिनीहरूसँग चाहिँ डिनर जानु पऱ्यो, कहिले भेटघाट छ फ्यामिली भन्दै बोकेरै जान्छ. कङ्ग्रेचुलेसन अन त्यो यता सार्क ट्याङ्ककोतिर पनि चेन्ज गर्छ भन्यो. मेरो क्वेसन चाहिँ लोकल पार्टनरसिप कतिको छ? जस्तो स्टेम एजुकेसनमा एकदमै लामो कारखानाको साथीहरूले गरिरहेछन् होइन, उनीहरूसँगको पार्टनरसिपमा कसरी काम गर्न सकिन्छ भन्ने एउटा चाहिँ. अनि स्कुलहरूसँग तपाईँहरूले रिच आउट लोकल स्कुलहरूसँग गर्नुभएको छ कि छैन? किनभने अब म त छोरा पढाउने भएकोले गर्दा पैसा तिर्नुपर्छ नि त्यहाँनिर स्कुलमा होइन, के को पैसा लिइरहेको हुन्छ. अनि यस्तो खालको एक्टिभिटीहरू गराउनु भएको छ कि छैन तपाईँहरूले भन्ने, स्कुल पार्टनरसिप कतिको छ भने त्यो नै हो. अर्को बुझ्छ मैले अर्को एउटा क्वेसन.
तपाईँको परिचय पनि दिनु.
मेरो नाम दिपेन्द्र चौधरी, म समृद्धिमै छु. सरी.
So partnerships भनेर चाहिँ हामी चाहिँ we do partners different सङ्घ संस्थाहरूसँग चाहिँ पार्टनर गरेर गरिरहेको चाहिँ छौँ. अब स्टेममा भन्दा चाहिँ हामी चाहिँ स्टिम भनेर साइन्स टेक्नोलोजी इन्जिनियरिङ एन्ड आर्ट्समा चाहिँ हामीले एड गरिरहेको छौँ. सो हामी कारखानासँग पनि कुरामा गरिरहेको थियौँ कि त्यो उहाँहरूकै गेम्सहरूमा पनि आर्ट्स पार्ट चाहिँ हामीले कसरी राख्ने भनेर. त्यो पार्ट चाहिँ हामीहरूलाई चाहिँ हामीले वी बिन वर्किङ अन इट, हामीले ट्राई गरिरहेको छौँ होइन. हामीहरूको कुनै गेम्सहरू चाहिँ हामीले डिफ्रेन्ट स्कुल्सहरूमा हाम्रो बच्यो भन्ने एउटा गेम छ चाहिँ यो डिजास्टर प्रिपेयर्डनेसको लागि भनेर हामीले बनाएको थियौँ होइन. सो नेपालको गभर्मेन्ट स्कुल्सहरूमा चाहिँ डिफ्रेन्ट गभर्मेन्ट स्कुल्समा चाहिँ हामीले गएर वर्कसप्सहरू पनि गरेको थियौँ होइन, जहाँ चाहिँ यो डिजास्टर प्रिपेयर्डनेसको लागि सिकाउनलाई पनि भनेर गेम होइन, अनि रमाइलोको लागि भनेर पनि, अनि त्यस्तो पनि डिस्ट्रिब्युसनहरू पनि गरिरहेको छौँ। तर त्यही कि हामीलाई चाहिँ कस्तो भने आई थिङ्क द्याट म्यास स्कुल्सहरूमा म्यासमा जाँदाखेरि चाहिँ द प्राइस कन्स्ट्रेन्ट इज भेरी हाई, भेरी भेरी बिग। जुन हामीलाई चाहिँ त्यो अलि हुन्छ नि लोवर कस्ट उसमा बनाउनलाई चाहिँ हामीलाई अलिक गाह्रो भइरहेको थियो होइन। अनि त्यो सबै एकदमै म्यासमा जाँदाखेरि चाहिँ द्याट प्राइस पार्ट इज भेरी इम्पोर्टेन्ट होइन। सो त्योमा चाहिँ वेयर स्टिल वर्किङ अन इट, कसरी त्यसलाई अझ राम्रोसँग गर्न सकिन्छ। अहिलेसम्म चाहिँ अल अफ आवर गेम्सहरू सबै एभ्रिथिङ इन आवर गेम्स इज मेड इन नेपाल एक्सेप्ट फर वान डाइस। एउटा डाइस चाहिँ नेपालमा बनाउँदैन रहेछ होइन। सो त्यो एउटा बाहेक एभ्रिथिङ इज मेड इन नेपाल हामीहरूको उसमा होइन। त्यो काठको गोटीहरूदेखि लिएर सबै बोर्डहरूदेखि लिएर सबै चिज इज मेड इन नेपाल होइन। अब जति पनि यो मासमा जाने प्रडक्ट चाहिँ धेरै जस्तो इम्पोर्टेन्ट नै छ कि होइन। अब त्यो इम्पोर्ट गर्दा चाहिँ इट्स अ लट चिपर त्यो गर्ने होइन। अब हामीले चाहिँ सकेसम्म इम्पोर्ट नगरौँ, नेपालमै बनाऊ भन्ने हेरिरहेको छौँ। सो वी आर स्टिल एक्सप्लोरिङ अप्सन्स एन्ड हाउ मासमा जानलाई पनि अब नेपालमै बनाएरै गर्न सकोस् भनेर चाहिँ हेरिरहेछौँ अप्सन्सहरू चाहिँ।
मैले अर्को क्वेसन सम्झेको थिएँ, 2 वर्ष अगाडि हामीले एउटा वर्कसप जस्तो गरेको थियौँ।
हजुर हजुर
हजुर आउनु भएको थियो।
हजुर हजुर आएको गेम्सहरूको
है, अनि इन्डिया श्रीलङ्काबाट उनीहरू होइन, दे आर डुइङ अमेजिङ। आई डोन्ट नो बिजनेस वाइज कस्तो गरेको छ, तर त्यो अनि हामी जे बिजनेस गर्छौँ, आइडियाको बिजनेस गर्छौँ, आइडियाको बिजनेसमा चाहिँ त्यस्तो खालको एक्टिभिटीहरू एकदमै धेरै गरेको छ कि। अब बाहिरतिरको जस्तो अस्ति पनि गयो भने त्यो अब एकदम कम्प्लेक्स बुक्सहरूलाई चाहिँ गेममा उनीहरूले कसरी लाउने भनेर त्यो गरिरहेको छ, आइडियामा काम गरिरहेको छ उनीहरूले चाहिँ। हाउ वी क्यान रिच आउट चिल्ड्रेन्स भनेर होइन। जस्तो अघि तपाईँको डिजास्टरको कुरा भयो, जस्तो कन्स्टिट्युसन होइन, हाम्रो कन्स्टिट्युसनमा के छ के छैन भन्ने कुरा होइन, वाइ प्राइभेट प्रोपर्टी म्याटर्स भन्ने कुराहरू जस्तो कुराहरू चाहिँ आइडियाजतिर तपाईँहरूको हिस्ट्री त्यो एउटा कुराहरू पक्रिनु भएको छ। आइडियाजतिर आइडिया प्रमोसनतिर जाने कतिको सोच्नु भएको छ, अथवा त्यसमा के गर्ने?
So we've partnered with USAID. We've also partnered with Save the Children. यिनीहरूको लागि चाहिँ नि स्पेसलाइज्ड गेम, कस्टमाइज गेम्सहरू चाहिँ नि बनाइराखेकै हुन्छ। सो तर कस्तो भने किड्सहरूलाई इट्स इदर लर्निङ अर इट्स इदर फन एन्ड लर्निङ टुगेदर गाह्रै पर्छ, द्याट कम्बिनेसन टु क्र्याक इट अप के होइन। सो इदर अब कस्तो भने हामीहरूको इट्स मेनली लाइक एकदमै फनतिरै जान्छ कि। इट्स अ लिटल बिट अफ लर्निङ यस, बट त्यो हार्ड कोर इट्स मोर लाइक अ सफ्टवेयर लर्निङ अफ लाइक डिफ्रेन्ट बिहेभियर्सहरू त्यहाँ। तर आई थिङ्क विड बी मोर देन ह्याप्पी टु कोलाबोरेट विथ।
Yeah, no, I think like Kreeti said, like there's a curve, very famous curve where the fun रमाइलो र त्यो लर्न गर्नेलाई चाहिँ यु हेभ टु डु लाइक रिपिटेटिभ हुन्छ नि। त्यही चिज मन नपरे पनि गरिराख्नुपर्छ होइन। जस्तो कि म्याथ्सको अब मल्टिप्लिकेसन हो भनौँ, त्यो रमाइलो मात्र गऱ्यो भने एकछिनलाई रमाइलो हुन्छ होइन, तर एक्चुली लर्निङ गर्नलाई यु हेभ टु किप अन डुइङ इट फर हुन्छ नि, मल्टिपल टाइम्स गरे पनि हुन्छ। सो हामीहरूको चाहिँ वेयर गेट मोर टुवर्ड्स द्याट फनर एस्पेक्ट अफ थिङ्सहरू होइन। अनि अब त्यसैमा चाहिँ कस्तो भने हामीहरूको चाहिँ अब यो जुन तपाईँले कन्स्टिट्युसन बिल्डिङमा भने यस द्याट साउन्ड्स भेरी इन्ट्रेस्टिङ होइन। हामीले बनाउनु पनि हामीले सोचेको पनि त्यो संविधान बनिरहेको बेलामा वी वर थिङ्किङ अबाउट द्याट, तर हुज गोइङ टु बाई इट भनेर होइन। अब हुन्छ नि ओ आई वान्ट ह्याभ फन प्लेइङ विथ कन्स्टिट्युसन भनेर कसैले गर्ला जस्तो छैन होइन। भयो भने पनि त्यसैको बारेमा विज्ञहरूले कसैले किन्ला होइन, कसैले होइन। तर द्याट मार्केटमा होइन त्यो सेल्सहरूमा राख्दाखेरि आई थिङ्क देल बी भेरी फ्यु, स्पेसली नेपालमा मार्केट इज सो स्मल होइन। सो हामीले चाहिँ अझै पनि द्याट किड्स बच्चाहरूलाई टार्गेट गरेर चाहिँ गरेर चाहिँ वेयर आर्ट्स सिकाउने, क्रिएटिभिटी सिकाउने, हिस्ट्रीको बारेमा बुझ्ने, हाम्रो कल्चरको बारेमा बुझाउनलाई त्यस्तो कुरा चाहिँ गर्दाखेरि पिपल इभन पेरेन्ट्स आर मोर इन्ट्रेस्टेड। हो साम्राज्य नेपालको हिस्ट्रीको बारेमा थाहा हुन्छ, त्यस्तो किसिमको गेम्सहरू गरौँ भनेर चाहिँ छ होइन। सो वेयर लुकिङ, हामी चाहिँ अझ क्रिएटिभ वेबाट रमाइलो गर्ने र कसरी गर्ने भन्ने चाहिँ हामीले सोचिरहेछौँ। अगेन हामी चाहिँ मोर ढल्केको टुवर्ड्स द्याट रमाइलो कसरी गर्छ भन्ने चाहिँ हेर्छौँ।
मैले यो किन भनेको, किन मैले आई वर्क विथ माई सन भने नि त्यो नेपालको करिकुलमलाई अलिकति फन बनाउने कि जस्तो लेम छ, बिजोग छ हालत होइन, त्यो पढ्नै मन नलाग्ने चाहिँ किताब पनि त्यस्तै छ, तर कन्टेन्ट त हो, काम लाग्छ, भोलि त्यो गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने कुरा बुझ्नु पनि पर्छ। अस्तिको हाम्रो जेनजीको आन्दोलनको एउटा रिफ्लेक्सन पनि थियो भने अहिले देखिएको कुराहरू छ नि, त्यो कतितिर मिस भएको हो कि भन्ने हो। तर एजुकेसन सिस्टममा त्यो करिकुलमलाई फन पाराले प्रेजेन्ट गर्नको लागि चाहिँ त्यो एउटा जरुरी छ कि जस्तो लागेको। त्यो चाहिँ ग्याप तपाईँहरूले फिल गर्नुहुन्छ कि भन्ने मात्रै मेरो कमेन्ट। थ्याङ्क यू भेरी मच फर एभ्री
So we've been trying to crack that code key. How do I incorporate that fun and actually sell it to schools so they adapt it के होइन अनि तर अहिले चाहिँ नि हाम्रो जुन चाहिँ नि गेम्स छ लेट्स जस्ट स्टार्ट विथ द्याट त्यही डिफ्रेन्ट अहिले के युलेन्स मल्पी आई क्यान जस्ट नेम कपल अफ रातो बङ्गला अनि अस्ति नै मात्र आइडियल मोडल स्कुलमा गएर चाहिँ नि हाउ टु प्ले द गेम्स भनेर टिचर्सहरूलाई सिकाएको थियो अनि टिचर्सबाट पनि अरूहरूले स्टुडेन्ट्सहरूलाई सिकाउँछ कि होइन सो हामीले त्यो गरिरहेछौँ तर यिनीहरूकै करिकुलमलाई नै फन कसरी ल्याउने भनेर चाहिँ नि आई थिङ्क अहिले त कारखाना बाहेक अरू कसैले गरिरहेछ कि छैन बट आई थिङ्क देयर इज लाइक प्ले बट
I think so. हामीहरूको करिकुलममै पनि there is a couple of interesting things where you can play around with होइन अब आई थिङ्क एउटा हो चाहिँ हरेक हाम्रो करिकुलममा पनि कस्तो छ भने हरेक उसमा लोकलाइज उहरू के अरे स्टोरिजहरू पनि हुनुपर्छ लोकलाइजहरू पनि हुन्छ सो त्यसलाई नै लिएर कति स्कुल्सहरूले चाहिँ होइन इन्ट्रेस्टिङ वर्कसप्सहरू गरिरहेछ कि होइन सो आई थिङ्क करिकुलमै चेन्ज गर्ने इज अ भेरी बिग टास्क जस्तो लाग्यो त्यसमा चाहिँ आई थिङ्क there are other organizations who work on that and who's more well versed in working in that. I think we've been working on providing these tools for that learning. That conversation starter and we were building. So the tools are the curriculum is a little different path just to like
but that's where the money is. तर हामीहरू अल्छी पर्यो.
One more question.
I have two questions. एउटा चाहिँ while navigating through the legal system, at any point did you feel like अब त छोडिदिनु it's not worth it खालको because it was so difficult? And the second question चाहिँ let's say the government came to you and asked you we want to help entrepreneurs such as yourself start business or expand business. What suggestions would you give us so that we can implement it to assist new entrepreneurs such as you?
Sorry, what was the first one? Every time government office, every time tax office, every time that's the same feeling.
But we are Alchi, we come up with creative ways to solve a problem. Huh?
Yeah, no, I think like Gen Z movement jun I think I feel like it's not about that big the ठुलो corruption the prime minister level corruption I think it was more rooted towards that सानो corruption अब एउटा त्यो ट्याक्स तिर्न जाने ठाउँमा नै हैन यो भनेर के दुःख दिइरहन्छ कहिले के भनेर दुःख दिइरहन्छ कहिले काहीँ हैन अब we just got on Shark Tank and Shark Tank को यो के भन्छ लाइक के फन्ड इन्जेक्ट गर्नलाई त्यो सेयर लागत चेन्ज गराउनलाई नै इट टुक अस 3 months हैन त्यही एउटा गर्न के भने उनीहरूको सफ्टवेयर बनाइरहेको के सफ्टवेयर चेन्ज नयाँ सफ्टवेयर राखेको छ अरे हैन त्यसैले उ भइरहेको छैन रे भनेर के एन्ड देन लाइक पर्ख्यो अपेरेन्टली अरूहरूको त सबै भइरहेछ के भने त पैसा दियो भने हुने रहेछ त्यसमा हैन सो यस्तो सानो लेभल अफ हुन्छ नि करप्सन हैन सानो हरेक ठाउँ हामीहरू अब लाइक आई थिङ्क द फर्स्ट entry to government for most people is like हामीको त्यो नागरिकता लिन जाने ठाउँमा सिडिओ अफिसमा लाइन कत्रो लामो हुन्छ हैन त्यो लाइन यत्रो लामो दिक्क लाएर बिहान 4 बजेदेखि बसिरहन्छ अनि एकजना somebody comes and then पैसा दिएर भित्रबाट सबै मिलाइरहन्छ लाइसेन्सको मात्र त्यस्तै हैन द्याट सानो करप्सन हुन्छ नि त्यसले गएर फ्रस्ट्रेसन भइरहेको जस्तो लाग्यो हरेक लेभल इन द गभर्मेन्टमा करप्सन छ हैन एन्ड आई थिङ्क द्याट इज वाट इज मेकिङ द्याट हुन्छ नि अन्टरप्रेन्योर्स फ्रस्ट्रेटेड जस्तो लाग्यो And I think like entrepreneurs, we have to find creative ways to solve these problems. I think that Gen Z movement was very apt about it. And said, okay, this system has to change completely. So I think it's right now is the time to bring that change. Hopefully now, that system changes. Top level change. I think the entire system has to change. So that entrepreneurs will not feel like completely छोडेर नजाऊ I think the easiest is खासमा सबैजना सजिलो हुन्छ सबै छोडेर ल बाहिर US जाऊ अथवा हैन इन्डियामा जाऊ like look at India is progressing so much and it's so easy to go to India and start a business and I think त्यो चाहिँ अब I think बिस्तारै hopefully now it's going to change in Nepal गभर्मेन्ट अफिस भन्नासाथ दिक्क लाग्दो चाहिँ नहोस् अबदेखि चाहिँ होइन डिजिटली सबै गर्न सकोस् यसलाई
अनि the second question regarding the government coming and talking to you, I don't think so.
I think there's a lot of suggestions. So I'm part of this organization called CNIYF. I can see Jitendra ji is also over here. But I mean, we've been lobbying with the government and making getting better environment for entrepreneurs. And I think first thing मलाई त लाग्ने कि that ease of doing business. नि अघि भने जस्तै होइन सजिलैसँग डिजिटल्ली नै सबै कम्पनी रेजिस्टर गर्नलाई 1 क्लिकबाट होस् होइन अनलाइन गएर एउटा फर्म भरे पुग्यो होइन त्यो गऱ्यो भने त्यो करप्सन पनि हुँदैन केही पनि हुँदैन ट्याक्सेसहरूको बारेमा पनि लेट देयर बी अ प्रपर वे अफ टेलिङ यु हाउ टु पे ट्याक्सेस हाउ मच टु पे भनेर होइन सो द्याट देयर इज नो हुन्छ नि यस्तो पनि हुन सकिन्छ तर यसरी हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ यु हेभ टु पे मोर भन्ने नहोस् होइन
It's not only government. We went to open a bank account in के भन्छ oh my god the यिनीहरूको जुन चाहिँ नि एउटा फर्म भर्नलाई how long did it take us to open a bank account? It was insane. म त प्राइभेट सेक्टरले कस्तो दिक्क दिएको
hopefully NIMB bankमा NIMB bankमा it's better but anyway I think no I think like अर्को चाहिँ भनेको मलाई चाहिँ के लाग्छ भने when we were starting off you know that the biggest thing for a company you know business for an entrepreneur is cash flow managing that cash flow Nepalma for somebody without not being from a family business and घर जग्गा धितो राखेर नलिकन गर्न it's very hard to get that cash जस्तो लाग्छ के and access to that capital is very hard नेपालमा चाहिँ I think that त्यो चाहिँ I think has to be a big change चाहिँ आउनुपर्छ जस्तो लाग्यो त्यो सेक्टरमा चाहिँ for every small entrepreneurs to be able to हुन्छ नि scale up their business सुरु गर्नलाई त you might not need actually हुन्छ नि सुरु गर्दाखेरि त you might not need that much money हैन किनभने धेरै अब अहिले त ल्यापटप एउटा भए बिजनेस सुरु गर्न सकिन्छ हैन तर I think when you scale up हैन जब अब you have to have like okay मैले I got a big project 10 जना मान्छे हायर गर्नु पर्यो हैन 10 वटा ल्यापटप किन्नु पर्यो हैन that is when you need that capital access to that capital if you go to a bank they take forever to get you a loan सबैभन्दा त हैन अनि अर्को त you have to have collateral you know when the bank is the one who knows you the best हैन अब नेपालमा त any business proper गर्ने हो भने every transaction happens to the bank they know कति पैसा आइरहेछ महिनाको कति पैसा गइरहेछ हैन कति पैसा नर्मलमा अकाउन्टमा हुन्छ सबै थाहा छ so you banks really does not have to worry about हुन्छ नि ल यस्तो बिजनेसलाई त यति लोन दिए हुन्छ भनेर तै पनि they ask for collateral a lot it's a lot harder for small business to get loans in Nepal and I think that is the basic main fabric of you know entrepreneurship like sorry the boost गर्ने when you scale up you need to have that easy access to capital and त्यो चाहिँ I feel like only cooperatives were helpful in that time अब अहिले त cooperatives पनि बन्द भइरहेछ so that I would really recommend the government to change जस्तो लाग्छ access to capital small business like
we're also hoping these improvements to come about soon. हाम्रो अफिसमा पनि we do work a lot towards making the environment doing business चाहिँ राम्रो होस् भन्नेमा हामीले पनि धेरै that's one of our what to say motivations as well. I think Abba will move towards like the Shark Tank journey my question is what was your motivation behind going to Shark Tank यहाँ चाहिँ जानुपर्छ भनेर चाहिँ I mean
marketing purposes one and only we don't market ourselves so might as well get money and market ourselves you know if we do get vanera why not vanera but I think it was quite an interesting journey
and I think like having somebody like I've been cabinet there like one of the sharks on board अनि अब हामी त आफ्नै we started with very little capital in the company you know and we were like very like bootstrapping everything and having like that money in the bank and त्यो गर्दाखेरि the way you think about business is very different I think like हामीले चाहिँ we weren't able to हुन्छ नि aspire for really big हुन्छ नि एकदमै हाई गर्नलाई एकदमै गाह्रो थियो हामीहरूलाई किनभने we didn't have money in the bank हैन अल्छीमा त we were like हैन बोर्ड गेम्सहरुबाट खासै हुनै भइरहेको थिएन हैन तर having a shark on board and having that investment in the company and having somebody trust us so much and having that money in the bank so that gives you a lot of aspiration and that gives you a lot of motivation as well no I can do this you know we can go it's an international we can invest on this and then go international पनि भन्ने चाहिँ एउटा त्यो हुन्छ नि how do you say that Yeah, push and then you support saying that also. So I think like nothing like having money in the bank once.
That's it. So things have changed quite a bit at Alchi then since the deal.
Yes, it has. I think more than that, we are more now looking forward to, okay, next year, let's do this. Like you said, we need to have all of our ducks in a row just to get boost. When पहिला त we are like just आफूले गर्यो गर्यो भयो भएन भनेर अब now we have someone else in the company and also that bank balance that increases, that does help to say let's get ducks in a row भनेर चाहिँ नि हुन्छ.
हजुर. I think मैले पनि त्यो एपिसोड चाहिँ हेरेको थिएँ होइन अनि one of the feedbacks and queries I guess was about how our reliance on digital methods of entertainment is increasing नि त. So do you guys have any plans of maybe going online or not online but like bringing something digital within to sort of tap into that area as well?
I would say yes and no. I know. We do like board games just because it gets people off the mobile, kids off the mobile, it's on the floor. But if board games matter, गरेर हामीलाई छैन भनेपछि why stick to that? I know we are in a gaming industry, we are promoting our culture. Let it be through any medium. I know initially maybe it started off by kids getting off the mobile, but if you really can't change their behavior, then maybe get on the mobile and then start adopting it.
Yeah, and also, it could be like a hybrid model. We're actually exploring ways where people can play games on a physical board game as well as have certain cards that can be used through an app. So the hybrid models are whenever we're exploring. That way we can get people so anywhere in the world get entice them to our games, and then that leads to buying our physical board game.
Like we said, we have a lot of ideas, but actually implementing those ideas and making it dumb enough that people sort of adopt it. I think that's like the hardest challenge too.
So you think Nepal ma next few years ma yo board games and digital ko चाहिँ केही न केही चाहिँ changes आउँछ अब.
आउँछ. Alchiबाट.
Sure. We're waiting for it.
Experimenting.
That's it. And when you were going and like preparing for Shark Tank, did you have any mentors that were guiding you through that journey?
No, we had mentors. We had to, because I think if we were like happy presenting about ourselves, but if there was some negotiations, I was like, oh my God, how do I do that business deal? Or like, how do we get the most benefits? So we are like consulting with Nidan from TNA. So he helped us in like how to navigate that part. We're also talking about different pitches or Rupani. So how to pitch, what's the best way to pitch Panirpani. I think we got a lot of help.
So I think personally, both of us we have like different mentors in the entrepreneurship field where we ask them whenever we have problems in our company, or we have like different mentors that we go to, and they definitely are. I think everybody needs that mentors and who can give them advices, not just for like Shark Tank matre, but in general we have like different kind of problems in the company is the way it is, and the mentors. They can give you an overarching view of, this is how companies, this all these kind of problems. Maybe you should look into these kind of, not give you solutions that, hey, esto gara, even an overview of, you can think about these kind of horizons. So I think having that mentors is very important. And I think I'm really thankful to all the mentors that we have. We go out, we have different mentors for different kinds of problems. And I think without them, I don't think we'll reach where we are right now.
So that network has been really important in your journey.
Exactly.
So
And I think one thing I really want to give credit to, a lot of these mentors, we met through your EFO and the last Thursdays, long time back when we just came back from US, 2010, 11. This was the platform that we used to meet other mentors, other entrepreneurs, where we met and we became friends. A lot of Ashtas Dai, Ujwal Dai, all of these, we met through these platforms, and then they became our mentors.
We're glad this has been we're hoping for the same Abapani ki, that you come network with each other and you help each other out, because yeah, exactly. That is the entire intention behind this. So I think mero ekdam final tira pugna, if anyone has questions, be ready with them.
Wait, before you do that, Shark Tank ma चाहिँ नि a lot of people were like उसले किन नेपाली बोलेन भनेर I have to say my Nepali sucks really bad. अनि so कस्तो भने like that आदर गरेर बोल्ने नेपाली I don't even know.
हजुर.
So त्यस कारण हाम्रो नेपाली बोलेन just so we don't offend anyone भनेर that's the only.
I think that it's fine. We use a mix of both languages.
Right.
So again, the Shark Tank. So I'm sure your vision for where Alchi Ko Pasal would be in the next 3 to 5 years must have changed, right? So where do you see Alchi Ko Pasal in the next 3 to 5 years?
I think for me, I want Alchi Ko Pasal. We are actually talking with UK games or different companies around the world that produces board games to see we can actually distribute it and then put it in their bookstores, Alchi Games as is, or like collaborate with them and see how else we can produce different games here and then produce it. तर mainly global marketing खोजिरहेछ भित्रकै market. I think it's been a perfect platform to sort of experiment and even understand some things, technical, I guess cultural aspects that we might be saying it, relaying it wrong. So त्यो हिसाबले चाहिँ नि we've been getting a lot of feedbacks. तर other than that, I think we're looking at globally कसरी बेच्ने भनेर.
And I think Alchi ma चाहिँ I don't think we want to cover all aspects of games ma चाहिँ हैन experiential games हैन board games and not just games. We want to go into more like like what Disney does. We have like merchandising that with games. There's like movies, animated series, and anything. Like I don't think we want to limit to any board games. Alchi, we have a vision where we want to be like the next Disney, or where from Nepal we can be like the next Pixar or something like that, where we go. With the Nepali stories, Nepali culture, that's so cool that we can export it all over the world. And I think we have things in Nepal that all over the world would really love it. Like how China is actually exporting their culture all over with different animated series, Lububu dolls and all these. It's like all over the world. And why can't we do that in Nepal? From Nepal, we can come up with cool. Look at all the icons. In the Harek Mandir ma, Harek Thama, there's so many cool items. We can actually export that. We can create newer products of that. They design मात्र किन गर्ने त्यसलाई अझै कुलर किन गर्न सक्दैन र हैन त्यो टाइममा हैन 100 वर्ष अगाडिको डिजाइनलाई लिएर अझ मोडिफाई गरेर we can make it even cooler and export it all over the world.
We're also rooting for you and hoping that happens soon for you. So I think maybe it's your final question in Sala. This is very simple. Like, what is your message to all the young entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs out there who want to step into into a creative venture? Tabarko, like a message.
I think follow your passion. Ultimately, money will come to you. It took us 7 years. But I think you need to know your own value and then sell your value rather than selling what, like a board game banale, it's only 16 rupee or like huncha ni 13 rupiyaँ mai paune cheez, why am I selling at 1800? Because you're creating a value for this thing. Once you create value, then it's a much more easier journey to sustain.
I think she put it very rightly. I think creating that value, you need to know your own worth. And I think I see a lot of Nepalma काम गरिरहेको business गरिरहेको, they're so worried that they're not good enough or राम्रोसँग त्यति राम्रो गर्नै सकेको छैन भनेर. And I think अहिलेको जमानामा you don't have to limit to Nepal. Look all over the world, and there's you can sell your products everywhere, anywhere in the world. And यहीँबाट बसेर you can really make amazing products as well. You don't have to limit to नेपालमा यस्तै हो के गर्ने. You can design it over here and then get it done somewhere else as well. And I think अहिले because of globalization, don't limit yourself to okay, you Nepalma यस्तै मात्र हुन्छ, यस्तै मात्र बन्छ भनेर. Follow your passion, follow your creativity. Make sure that you follow that perfection. Try to be that perfectionist. Just and that is possible अहिले.
हजुर सो मेरो क्वेसन्स चाहिँ सकियो बट वी ह्याड वान क्वेसन अनलाइनमा सी इज बेस्ड आउट अफ नेपाल सो सी अभियसली कुड नट अटेन्ड बट सी विल वाच द रेकर्डिङ सो सी इज बिनिशा श्रेष्ठ सी आस्क्स she has sold a lot of your games and she loves the cultural connection that it has to with the games. And so what she's saying is board games they're often single purchase life cycle ko huncha ni ta. So she's asking what are you thinking about keeping your existing customers engaged in terms of extensions or newer additions or educational partnerships. And she also asks how could diaspora sellers like her support your overall global strategy more intentionally.
Vinishita, she's been selling and supporting us for I don't know how long, eh? Ani, I think hammerko lagi चाहिँ नि कस्तो भने board game it's the quality in Nepalma it's never one cycle. It goes from my cousin to like oh यो बुढा बुढी भयो I mean like they've gone older ल उसको के भन्छ भाइ बहिनी or cousins-हरुलाई जाने board game-हरु हो. And plus we make it durable enough that it is passed down so it's never one cycle. Orko चाहिँ नि how you can support is like she's been doing always. She's been ordering any new board games that comes in and she's been doing an excellent job of just त्यहाँको markets-हरुमा राख्छ के गर्छ. But I think more than anything if it's a lot harder for us to convince a vendor there or like a retailer to say please hammerko board game rakhdiyo because there's a market for it. It's much more helpful when the customer itself says why don't you have this board game into yours. It's like they know that the purchase is going to happen if they were to make a commitment to buy it from us. So go to your local vendor and then just ask them samrajya cha bhanera.
I think like following the first usma where it's a one-time purchase भनेर हुन्छ नि हामीले चाहिँ we're actually looking at creating a series of games अहिले चाहिँ. So one thing that we've been working on now is we're collecting monsters from all over your Himalayan region. So we have a series called Himalayan Monster series भनेर. So we have Slap the Monster भनेर छ, we have ल्यापु ल्यापु भन्ने monster छ. So a whole bunch of Himalayan Monster series को games around this. So that is so that we can create like that curiosity about monsters all over. And we're actually collecting these monsters from India monsters के छ नेपालमा के छ नेपालमा जस्तै ख्याक भन्यो. ल्यापु ल्यापु actually is like a story from like पुरानो नेपालमा चाहिँ त्यो अलि यो फोरी सिंगाने बच्चाहरूलाई चाहिँ त्यो सिंगाने भयो भने ल्यापु ल्यापु आउँछ है भनेर तर्साउँथ्यो कि हैन. सो यस्तो भूतको monstersहरुको कथाहरूलाई चाहिँ रिभाइभ गर्ने. And so that's where ल्यापु ल्यापु हाम्रो board game is about हुन्छ नि getting rid of dirt. फोहोरहरु सफा गर्नुपर्छ भनेर गेम छ हामीहरुको हैन. So we're creating up with a whole bunch of series of these kind of games हरु हैन. Not just that, even like story books हरु पनि छ अहिले. ल्यापु ल्यापुकै story book पनि छ. अनि नेपालबाट मात्र हैन like in even China बाट India बाट हैन पाकिस्तान बंगलादेशबाट पनि यस्तो monster को stories हरु कलेक्ट गरेर त्यसलाई अझ games हरुमा different mediums हरुमा चाहिँ राख्ने भनेर गरिरहेको छ so that they can be invited. So एउटा मात्र गेम हैन अर्को पनि monster game आयो ल I want to buy the other monster game पनि भनेर. And slowly we were hoping that maybe we can do like merchandising, animated series and all of that with Himalayan Monsters so that all these monster drawings, monster stories can get revived.
So we've got a new game coming up that's called Monster Hunters and it includes hammerko Nepalकै monstersहरु plus it includes like hammerko China र India को monstersहरु. So when we do sell our board games in India or China it's more acceptable to them. अनि त्यही अनुसारले चाहिँ नि हामीले board gamesहरु पनि बनाइरहेछ. But I think what we want to do is touch upon social causes as to हुन्छ नि आजकल त सिंगाने बच्चाहरु छैन but there's still dirty kids around. So त्यही अनुसार चाहिँ नि reinforced learning with books and then के भन्छ gamesहरु. अब now we're trying to see if we can have like an animated series and then merchandise. So
So
larger glorified
that.
जस्तो गरेर.
Yeah, I think even not just kids, I mean, ठुलोहरुलाई पनि having this merchandise will be, I think I'll buy it for sure. Malta. Yes.
Thank you.
I think we can now open the floor for any more questions. Sir. Okay, then you, right?
मेरो नाम आलोक सुवेदी, एडमिन अन प्रोस फर नेपाल. एउटा क्वेसन चाहिँ मेरो 4 वर्षको स्टोरी छ. 4 वर्षको बच्चाको लागि गेम छ कि छैन हैन. सेकेन्ड इन एप पर्चेस गरे जस्तो त्यस्तो गेम्सहरुमा इन गेम पर्चेसहरू गर्ने तपाईँहरूले सोच्नु भएको छ कि छैन? अनि थर्ड चाहिँ यो सार्क ट्याङ्कमा गएर अलिक धेरै स्टेक मैले बर्न गरेँ जस्तो लाग्छ कि लाग्दैन? किनकि आई थिङ्क यु गाइज डिड 1 crore for 25% प्लस द्याट प्रफिट सेयरिङमा गरे जस्तो लाग्छ होइन? सो त्यो रिफ्लेक्ट गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ धेरै छिटो धेरै बर्न गरियो कि जस्तो लाग्छ कि न? आई थिङ्क वी गट गुड भ्यालुएसन जस्तो लाग्छ।
I'll answer the first question.
So 4-year-olds ko lagi चाहिँ नि we've got Jatra. Jatra, it helps improve creativity in kids. Kidsहरूमा चाहिँ नि a lot of times don't do this, don't do that हुन्छ नि, जहिले पनि नगर 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 भनेर एकदमै सुन्छ होइन. So Jatra is a really fun game with you can do whatever you want खालको. So how do you act like a cloud and make noise like an aeroplane at the same time? How do you have like a clown or a candy or a donkey and make up a story out of it? So it helps creativity in like a whole this thing. So I would recommend Jatra highly. Or other than that, the memory games are the chhane.
So I think to the second question line. So हामीले अल्ची चाहिँ होइन, like I said, हामीले त हबी प्रोजेक्ट जस्तो गरेर सुरु गरिरहेको होइन. अनि like going to Shark Tank and pitching to all the sharks, and then Cabinet believing in our in our efforts and believing in that our like हाम्रो सानो एउटा venture हो होइन, जुन we've been like आफ्नो बच्चा जस्तै हो entrepreneurial business भनेको त होइन. He like believed in us that okay, I'll put in 1 CR, like 1 crore राख्दिन्छु राख्छु तिमीलाई होइन. I think that belief, that him trusting us that okay, these guys will do good, I'll help them out भन्ने. For that, I think 25%, I don't feel like it was a big goal. I think that really gave us that boost in confidence. See? That really gave us that motivation. And so I think, Malata, I don't feel like, well, I don't feel that at all that we gave up more just the like Malata. I think, I mean, even when going at that route, we're like, 25% is like, and then 25% so, Malacha, I think having him trust on us was so powerful for us that I think that for that 25% is okay. We're more than happy with that.
Yeah, and plus he comes with a lot of like network, a lot of people that he knows. So yeah, I think the business math and all that.
Thank you.
So regarding Shark Tank again, in my opinion, business is quite complex, especially involving ownership and equity. So after your episode, it was all televised. However, going back and forth, right? So as the information revealed in terms of exact numbers, right hand, CEO, it's quite complicated, right? So how many back and forths did you really have, which you can reveal obviously, if you can't reveal obviously you will not reveal, but how many back and forths did you have, and did the deal actually change, or was it as it was televised? So that's my question.
It's too धेरै back and forth. I mean, we had to send all our documents, our like audited report and all of that. I think so. It's too time चाहिँ एकदमै लाग्यो, तर टाइम लागेको चाहिँ किनभने हाम्रो शेयर लागतमा उहाँको नाम राख्नलाई like that valuation गर्नलाई that हुन्छ नि okay, because हामीले त we didn't have that much money invested in the company पहिला हैन. So एकैचोटि हाम्रो company valuation become 4 crores हैन. So त्यो valuation justify गर्नलाई all of that actually took a lot of time. Like I said अघि भने जस्तो like 2 महिना 3 महिना त हामीहरुको just to get that share लागत गर्नलाई लाग्यो हैन. So those things were more cumbersome. I think for the valuation, for the injection, the aru part ko लागि, the back and forth mata negotiations the
6 months jati लाग्यो. So I think that बिचमा दशैं तिहार गरे.
Yeah. So negotiations the खासै भएन हामीहरुको. I think like कस्तो थियो भने like what they showed in the episode, there was a little longer थियो where he asked us about our figures a little bit, and a lot of times and like we opened up our, like we were very open about how much we were doing, what we were doing, and I think that like they say Bella he got an idea of how much we were doing, and I think like the valuation that he put in it was a lot more than the revenue that we're making, and he knew that what was whatever. I think Shark Tank, but there was a couple of businesses where we were like really upselling themselves with the revenue होइन एक्चुअलमा भन्दा पनि धेरै नै उयो गरिरहेको थियो तिनीहरूमा चाहिँ अलिक प्रब्लम्सहरू आएको भनेर सुनेको थियो होइन मोर देन द्याट हामीहरूकोमा त वी वर भेरी ओपन अबाउट वाट वी वर मेकिङ वाट वी वर डुइङ एन्ड अल सो त्यस्तो त भएन हामीहरूको ब्याक एन्ड फोर्थ भनेर त्यही डकुमेन्ट्सहरू दियो देयर टिम रिभ्युड इट एन्ड देन इट वाज अकर्डिङ टु वाट दे वी प्रोक्लेम पहिला नै सो
I think with this we've come to the end of the formal session. Baira, over tea and biscuits, we can again connect the questions with Sodhma. But before that, I'd like to call Disidai to hand over a small token of love from our side.
यो चाहिँ डुइङ बिजनेस इन नेपाल भनेर जुन कुरा भइरहेको थियो निकै अगाडि हामीले गएको रिसर्चले स्मल होइन सर्ट रिसर्च तर समृद्धि फाउन्डेसनले हेर्ने नै बिजनेस इन्भाइरोमेन्ट हो सो कति कुराहरू तपाईँहरूले भनिरहेको कुरामा हामी पनि काम गरिरहेको छौँ अस्तिको अध्यादेशहरू पनि काम गरिसक्यो यो एउटा अनि यो कन्ट्र्याक्ट इन्फोर्समेन्टको कुरा किनभने सबभन्दा बढी नेपालमा गाह्रो हुन्छ कन्ट्र्याक्ट ब्रिच गर्ने त्यो पनि कसले गर्ने त भन्दा सरकारले गर्ने हामीले गर्ने अनि अहिले नेपालको सबभन्दा ठुलो कन्ट्र्याक्ट ब्रिचर भनेकै नेपाल गभर्मेन्ट हो क्या अनि त्यही भएर कन्ट्र्याक्ट इन्फोर्समेन्ट चाहिँ फितलो छ अनि त्यसमा आलोक जस्तो मान्छेहरूले काम गर्नु जरुरी छ लयरहरूले काम गर्नु जरुरी छ भनेर अनि यो चाहिँ त्यो सार्क ट्याङ्कमा आएको पैसाहरू सबै यसमा जम्मा हामीलाई अनि यो चाहिँ पछिल्लो किताब यो चाहिँ ग्लोबलाइजेसनमा होइन ट्रेड एन्ड ग्लोबलाइजेसन भन्ने किताब अनि ट्रान्सलेट गरेर अमेजिङ बुक यो तपाईँहरूको लागि कङ्ग्रेचुलेसन्स थ्याङ्क यू भेरी मच
वान थिङ मलाई चाहिँ भन्न मन लागेको चाहिँ होइन समृद्धि फाउन्डेसनले पहिला एउटा किताब निकाल्थ्यो हजुर ह्यान्डबुक फर अन्टरप्रेन्योर्स भनेर मैले त्यो चाहिँ धेरै नै युज गरेँ त्यो हामी त्यसमा हरेक कम्पनी रेजिस्टर गर्नेदेखि लिएर होइन यो गर्दाखेरि के गर्नुपर्छ होइन एज एन अन्टरप्रेन्योर के गर्नुपर्छ भनेर सबै चिज
थ्याङ्क यू
त्यो चाहिँ मैले एकदमै युज गरेको थिएँ पहिला चाहिँ
अहिले चाहिँ समृद्धिको वेबसाइटमा हेर्नुभयो भने यतापट्टि लिगल रिप्रेजेन्टेटिभ भन्ने छ अनि त्यहाँ क्लिक गर्नुभयो भने चाहिँ वी ट्राई टु मेक इट डाइनामिक पनि कहाँ के रजिस्टर गर्ने के गर्ने भन्ने छ त्यो इन्फर्मेसन सकिन्छ थ्याङ्क यू भेरी मच
Thank you.